So now we have Abel who's going to be telling us about DuckDB and JuMP. And Diego was originally going to come and give this talk, but he couldn't attend, so he sent Abel in his place to give this talk.
Thank you. So, olá a todos. So my name is Abel. I'm from the Netherlands East Science Center. This is a work together with Diego from TNO. He would love to be here. He sends his regards. And today I will talk a bit about DuckDB and how we are using it to build optimization models. The summary of this talk, if you need a short version, is that we linearized indices by storing them as tables. And that allows us to separate the indices creation from the model creation. And that we are specifically using DuckDB because it's a really great tool for data manipulation. So this started around 2023, the end of 2023. We were developing Tulipa energy model, energy system optimization. And in Tulipa, we have, so it's a network flow, right? So we have flow between nodes. And in Tulipa, we define the time to be time blocks instead of time steps. So every flow in Tulipa, so the flow between producer and demand and producer and hub, etc., instead of being defined for every time, you're going to have the time horizon, a partition of that, and so you have time blocks. And that's possibly different for every edge that you have. And you also have the balance constraints that, and they as well, they have different time blocks. So in addition to figuring out every incoming and outgoing flow in a node, you also have to figure out if they have the right time block. And if they don't have, you just don't want to add them. And when they do match, you want to compute the intersection because you want a proportional flow. And that made the problem a little bit harder. We had sparse containers throughout. Every variable would be depending, we will have two indices at least, one index depending on the other. And so almost everything was sparsely stored. And of course, we also had the sum if problem. So this was 2023. So we asked around what could we do. And of course, we had, this is the sum if problem, so you handle like this. But we also had a radically different idea from Oscar. And it was essentially use data frames to store the indices and do data manipulation before you get to the model. So essentially, the whole idea started from that post. And at the same time, we were talking about the input of Tulipa because we were working with a company and possibly researchers, and we also wanted to keep the software accessible for everybody. We had some CSV files that we wanted to read for our tests, but we also considered the possibility of, the data might come from some Postgres database and some server that we don't have access, or just many different ways to access the data. And DuckDB was considered for that too. DuckDB has a lot of great clients, and Julia is also supported, not mainly supported, but there's also something going on. And after playing around, it was a great tool to use. And for those unaware, DuckDB is a database storage format. It's local, so it's like SQLite, but it's columnar instead of being per row. So it's if you have to add things to your table, SQLite is better, but if you're doing data manipulations in columns, DuckDB is usually faster. So in Tulipa, what we have is essentially a DuckDB connection throughout the whole process. We have our external sources that, CSV files, Excel files, notably a lot of Excel files, and possibly other databases. After we load that in DuckDB, whatever we do with Julia, we go through DuckDB, we load the data from there, we do whatever we want, and we send the data back to DuckDB. In the case of Tulipa energy model in particular, we create a bunch of tables from the DuckDB connection, we start all those tables, and then we go to Julia, or specifically to JuMP, and we solve everything with highs, at least the open part of it. And when I mention storage, well, so what are we storing in DuckDB? The main thing that we care about is the indices, because we are trying to linearize them. So we store all those indices, so these are all columns that we have, so the from edge to edge, the time block information that we have, and whatever other information, so like years. But also we're going to want a numerical index to relate to the jump part of it. So we also have an index from 1 to the number of objects, and potentially extra data that might be useful in the model creation, like the lower bounds of the variables, or something that we're going to use when building the objective function later on. Whatever you want, you can just join that data either before or during the model creation. And on the Julia side, what you do is you just create the arrays, one per row, and so you have a direct mapping between the table and the DuckDB table. Sorry, then the Julia container. For variables, we normally only have one container because it's just one variable per variable table. But for constraint and expressions, we might have more arrays. So you can have just a single table and multiple expressions, and then a single constraint that just uses all those expressions when building. The basic idea of the pipeline is first you just load everything that you need, build everything that you want that's not specifically mathematical modeling. Then you actually build the things that you care about in for JuMP later on. So these will be the variables, the constraints, and the expressions. So here, for instance, this var flow is going to be storing all the indices of the flow variables. We have automatically incrementable ID. We're going to have the source node and the destination node. And you're going to have the time block start, because we are storing just the indices. Although in Julia, they're going to be ranges. We store the start and the end. And those things, they can be computed before you get into the JuMP part of the thing. Same for the constraints. In particular, when we are storing like all the indices in an expression, one thing that we can do is use an array aggregation together with a group by. So you can just compute all the indices that are going to be in my incoming expression for this one particular node using something like these internal DuckDB functions. They are also very common in other SQL languages. And finally, you just compute the Julia objects, reading from DuckDB, and then for each row, you create whatever you need to create. That's pretty much the whole idea of using DuckDB as the backend. In this particular case, we don't have a lot in the var flow, so we can just say flow from this row ID, and that's used only for the name. But in more complex cases, you can have, for instance, the sum over the var flow ID for all the IDs in this incoming IDs list. And of course, this is the nice version of things. The actual Tulipa code is a bit more, complicated, but the main idea is the same. You just want to, do every operation per row. Around that time, we compared with the IJKLM problem that was, something that came up in a blog post. And the solution there was, do all the data preparation using data frames. And since we were using data frames and we were considering the switch, we compared this. And they are pretty much the same. One reason being that DuckDB in Julia uses the same tables back end, so they must be pretty similar. From the memory side, though, it's a little bit better. And also, for reasons, the garbage collection time is also faster. But what we really care about is not being too slow and saving on memory. And so the pros and cons, in essence, is model creation speed comparison to data frames is pretty similar. They use the same backend, so it makes sense. The data operations in SQL, though, they are normally less memory intensive and faster. It's also easier to integrate in a more complex pipeline. So if you have, for instance, some data analyst that's not going to be touching any of the Julia side, they can just use SQL directly or use another client, normally Python in that case, to just interact with the data, prepare everything for the modelers, and then get the output and do the dashboards that they need. And also the same indices can be used for other frameworks. So in principle, at least, if we wanted to switch from JuMP to LinoPy or some other modeling framework, we could switch that last part. In Tulipa, currently, things are much more integrated, in part because we started this later on, but also because we use Julia to compute some of the tables during model creation to do some later join. The downside is that it requires some SQL knowledge for the modeling. So of course, if you want to create a new constraint, you have to think about rows in a table instead of just thinking about the mathematical expression. So it requires some mindset changes. And you also lose the JuMP indexing, which is one of the really nice things about JuMP that we used in the beginning to sell JuMP for our partners. But a lookup can be created because you have all that information in the table. So in most situations, that was not a downside. And another thing is that the DuckDB.jl has limited support. And of course, it also dynamically dispatches, which is expected from, since you don't actually know what's going on in the table before you load it, everything is going to be decided on runtime. And that's it for me. Thanks a lot for listening.